Chapter 21, Searching for the Dead. Sending out the Mackay, Bennett, and Menia, Bremen passengers see bodies, identifying bodies, confusion in names, recoveries. A few days after the disaster, the cable steamer Mackay Bennett was sent out by the White Star Line to cruise in the vicinity of the disaster and search for missing bodies. Two wireless messages addressed to J. Bruce Ismay, president of the International Mercantile Marine Company, were received on April 21st at the offices of the White Star Line from the cable ship Mackay Bennett via Cape Race, one of which reported that the steamship Rhine had sighted bodies near the scene of the Titanic wreck. The first message, which was dated April 20th, read, "Steamer Rhine reports passing wreckage and bodies 42.1 north, 49.13 west, 8 miles west of 3 big icebergs. Now making for that position. Expect to arrive 8 o'clock tonight. Signed, Mackay Bennett." The second message read, "Received further information from Bremen, presumably steamship Bremen, and arrived on ground at 8 o'clock p.m. Start on operation tomorrow. Have been considerably delayed on passage by dense fog. Signed, Mackay Bennett." After receiving these messages, Mr. Ismay issued the following statement. "The cable ship Mackay Bennett has been chartered by the White Star Line in order to proceed to the scene of the disaster and do all she could to recover the bodies and glean all information possible. Every effort will be made to identify bodies recovered, and any news will be sent through immediately by wireless. In addition to any such messages as these, the Mackay Bennett will make a report of its activities each morning by wireless, and such reports will be made public at the offices of the White Star Line. The cable ship has orders to remain on the scene of the wreck for at least a week, but should a large number of bodies be recovered before that time, she will return to Halifax with them. The search for bodies will not be abandoned until not a vestige of hope remains for any more recoveries. The Mackay Bennett will not make any soundings, as they would not serve any useful purpose, because the depth where the Titanic sank is more than 2,000 fathoms. On April 22nd, the first list of 27 names of bodies recovered was made public. It contained that of Frederick Sutton, a well-known member of the Union League of Philadelphia. It did not contain the name of any other prominent man who perished, although it was thought that the name George D. Wyden might refer to George D. Widener, son of P.A.B. Widener of Philadelphia. The original passenger lists of the Titanic did not mention Wyden, which apparently established the identity of the body as that of Mr. Widener, who, together with his son, Harry, was lost. The wireless message, after listing the names, concluded, "All preserved," presumably referring to the condition of the bodies. A number of the names in the list did not check up with the Titanic's passenger list, which led to the belief that a number of the bodies recovered were members of the Titanic's crew. Menia sent to assist. At noon, April 23rd, there was posted on the bulletin in the White Star office this message from the Mackay Bennett, dated Sunday, April 21st. Latitude 41.58, longitude 49.21. Heavy southwest swell has interfered with operations. 77 bodies recovered. All not embalmed will be buried at sea at 8 o'clock tonight with divine service. Can bring only embalmed bodies to port. To Captain Lardner, master of the Mackay Bennett, P.A.S. Franklin, vice president of the White Star Line, sent an urgent message asking that the company be advised at once of all particulars concerning the bodies identified, and also given any information that might lead to the identification of others. He said that it was very important that every effort be made to bring all of the bodies possible to port. Mr. Franklin then directed A.G. Jones, the Halifax agent of the White Star Line, to charter the Menia and send her to the assistance of the Mackay Bennett. Mr. Jones answered this telegram and said that the Menia was ready to proceed to sea that a southeast gale, which generally brings fog, might delay her departure. She left for Halifax. Names badly garbled. On April 24th, no wireless message was received from the Mackay Bennett, but the White Star Line officials and telegraphers familiar with the wireless alphabet were busy trying to reconcile some of the names received with those of persons who went down on the Titanic. That the body of William T. Stead, the English journalist and author, had been recovered by the Mackay Bennett, but through a freakish error in wireless transmission, the name of another person was reported instead, was one of the theories advanced by persons familiar with the Morse code. Bremen cited more than 100 bodies. When the German liner Bremen reached New York, the account of its having sighted bodies of the Titanic victims was obtained. From the bridge, officers of the ship saw more than 100 bodies floating on the sea, a boat upside down, together with a number of small pieces of wood, steamer chairs, and other wreckage. As the cable ship Mackay Bennett was in sight, and having word that her mission was to look for bodies, no attempt was made by the Bremen's crew to pick up the corpses. In the vicinity was seen an iceberg which answered the description of the one the Titanic struck. Smaller bergs were sighted the same day, but at some distance from where the Titanic sank. The officers of the Bremen did not care to talk about the tragic spectacle, but among the passengers several were found who gave accounts of the dismal panorama through which their ship steamed. Mrs. Joanna Stuck, a first cabin passenger, described the scene from the liner's rail. "It was between 4 and 5 o'clock Saturday, April 20th, she said, when our ship sighted an iceberg off the bow to the starboard. As we drew nearer, we could make out small dots floating around in the sea. A feeling of awe and sadness crept over everyone on the ship. We passed within 100 feet of the southernmost strip of the wreckage, and looking down over the rail, we distinctly saw a number of bodies so clearly that we could make out what they were wearing, and whether they were men or women. We saw one woman in a nightdress, with a baby clasped closely to her breast. Several women passengers screamed and left the rail in a fainting condition. There was another woman, fully dressed, with her arms tight around the body of a shaggy dog. The bodies of 3 men in a group, all clinging to one steamship chair, floated nearby, and just beyond them were a dozen bodies of men, all of them encased in life preservers, clinging together as though in a last desperate struggle for life. We couldn't see,